Alright, so you want to know how to burn fat as fast as possible. So fast that it feels illegal. In this video, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. And don't worry, I have experience in fitness. Alright, so the first thing that I want you to understand is that you cannot lose weight if you're not in a calorie deficit. So what does that mean? Okay, so your maintenance calories are the amount of calories that you have to eat in a day to stay the same weight. Now, if you eat above your maintenance calories, you're going to be gaining weight. And if you eat below your maintenance calories, you're going to be losing weight. And you want to be eating in a calorie deficit, which means you're going to be eating under your maintenance calories so that you lose weight. Alright, but you guys want to know how to lose fat and burn specifically fat as fast as possible, not just lose weight. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is the fastest way to lose fat and to keep as much muscle as possible in basically a short period of time. Alright, so the diet that I would recommend for this is called the Keto Diet. Now, a lot of you have most likely heard of the keto diet before. Alright, so for people that have heard of the keto diet but don't really know how it works, I'll explain it for you. So essentially what you're doing is you're cutting out carbs from your diet, maybe eating at most like 50 grams of carbs a day, which is like absolutely nothing. Like I'm pretty sure that's less than half of a bagel. And the reason why you're cutting out carbs specifically is because carbs is your body's favorite nutrient. So if you have carbs in your diet, then your body's going to prefer burning carbs over fat. So if you don't have carbs or you have very minimal amount of carbs in your diet, then your body is going to start producing ketones, which basically triggers your body to use your fat as an energy source, and it'll help you burn fat. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So even if you do this diet, but you eat the same amount of food to stay the same weight, or you eat in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. And essentially, this diet isn't really going to do anything for you, and it's going to be kind of pointless. And all it's going to do is really just deprive you of a macronutrient for no reason. So how do we optimize this diet to lose as much fat as possible and to not burn off your muscle, right? Because you want to keep your muscle, but you want to burn the fat. So in this case, about 30% of your diet, or a little bit more, maybe like 35% of your diet, you're going to want it to be protein. So about 30, it's a bad marker, percent of your diet is protein. Protein is the building block to muscle development and muscle growth, right? So if you want to keep your muscles, you're going to want to eat a lot of protein. Now, the rest of your diet, seeming that we're going to be cutting out most carbs, you might eat about 5% carbs in your diet, right? So that's like nothing. That's, like I said, maybe like 50 grams or something of carbs, which is literally like nothing. The rest of your diet, so the other 65% of your diet, will be fat. Now, a lot of people will think, well, why would you eat so much fat if you're trying to burn your fat? It doesn't matter what you eat. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. And by eating this much fat, your body is going to get in the mode and it's going to get used to having to break down fat. Therefore, it's going to be easier to break down your own fat because your body's already going to be used to it, I guess you could say. All right, but if I want to lose weight, how do I go into a calorie deficit? And how do I know that I'm in a deficit? And how do I reach those nutrient goals of the 30% protein and the 5% carbs and the 65% fat? How do I calculate that? So to go into a deficit, the first thing that you have to figure out is how much calories it takes you to stay the same weight, aka your maintenance calorie intake. So to do this, what I'll get you to do is you're going to wake up one morning, you're going to go weigh yourself. You're going to record that weight. Then for the next 10 days, I want you to track all of your calories, every single nutrient, every bit of milk, whatever you put into your body. I want you to track exactly how much calories you're consuming. Now, by the 11th day, when you wake up, I want you to go weigh yourself again. And if you weigh within 1 pound of what your weight was on that first day, then you know the calories that you've been tracking daily are the amount of calories that you have to eat to stay the same weight, or aka maintain your weight. So once you figure that out, it's pretty simple to go into a deficit. You just have to eat less than that. But how many calories less should you be eating? So let's just say you figure out that your maintenance calorie intake is 2,000 calories, right? So 2,000 calories. I'd say that it's optimal to eat about 300 to 500 calories in a deficit. 500 is getting a little extreme, so I just keep it at 300 calories in a deficit. Now we're going to say minus 300 equals 1,700 calories. So now you're in a deficit. This is the amount of calories you're going to want to be eating daily to lose weight. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I calculate what 30% of my diet is in protein? And how do I calculate what 65% of my diet is in fats and what is 5% of my diet in carbs? So pay very close attention to this and maybe even write this down if you have like a pen and paper around you. I don't know. Anyway, so in 1 gram of fat, there is 9 calories. And if we want 65% of our diet, so 65% of our daily calories, which is 1,700, to come from fat, then what we have to do is we have to take that 1,700, right? We're going to divide it by 9, okay? And we're going to figure out what that equals. I'm just going to pull up my calculator real quick. And this turns out to be about 189 grams of fat. Now be careful because remember we want 65% of our diet to come from fat, not the whole thing. So you're going to take 189. We're going to take 189. And we're going to times this by 0.65. And that is going to be our answer and how many grams of fat we're going to be eating in a day. And this turns out to be about 122 point, I believe it said 85. Yeah, 85 grams of protein a day, but we'll round that up to 123. So 65% of your diet now is consumed in fat. And to make that easy, that's about 123 grams of fat you're going to be consuming daily. Now we're going to be doing a very similar formula to figure out how much protein we should be eating in a day. Okay, so we want about 30% of our daily intake to be protein. And there are 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. Sorry for my horrendous writing, but yeah, 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take 1,700, we're going to divide it by 4, and then we're going to multiply it by 0.3 now. And that is going to be the amount of protein in grams that we have to consume in a day. Once again, this just makes it easier for you to track. So in this case, 1,700 divided by 4 times 0.3 is 127.5. So you're going to be eating about 127.5 grams of protein a day. Now, like I said, 5% of your diet is going to come from carbs, but I mean, it could be even 0. Like you could completely cut out carbs, so I'm not even going to do carbs. Those formulas are exactly what you're going to use to figure out what your diet is going to consist of in grams. So definitely write those down and rewind the video to the fat part and, get the formulas so that you can calculate this on your own. Now let me be clear, the keto diet is not optimal for overall weight loss and sustainability. If you're using this diet, it is simply to cut fat and to burn fat as fast as possible. If you want to go on a sustained diet where you're constantly losing weight and you can keep up with the diet for a long period of time, then I would definitely recommend just doing a normal calorie deficit without cutting out any certain macronutrients. Macronutrients are super important, and if you cut out macronutrients for long enough, you're actually going to deprive yourself of micronutrients, which in return does not have a good effect on your body whatsoever. But this is essentially the fastest way to burn fat. Now, I think it's super important that I make this clear. The amount of calories that I used in my example is not the case for everybody. That's why I encourage you to go figure out what your own maintenance calorie intake is, because everybody is obviously made different. Everybody has a different metabolism, which means you're going to burn fat at a faster rate or a slower rate than somebody else, for example, right? So you got to go figure out what your own maintenance calorie intake is in a day or in a week, whatever. For those of you that are going to take the keto diet very seriously, this is a very, very effective way of burning fat as fast as possible. Is it the most optimal way? In my opinion, it is not, and I do recommend just doing a regular calorie deficit. But to see fast results in fat burning and fat loss, this is definitely the way you're going to want to go. Because of society and day-to-day life, we consume so much carbs, especially in westernized, civilizations. We consume so much carbs daily that this diet is essentially, like, in my opinion, it's very, very hard to keep up with because you're constantly being presented with carbs. Like, you can't eat basically any bread. You can't eat chips. You can't eat crackers. You can't eat, like, there's so many things that you're not going to be able to eat that it's just very hard to sustain this diet. That's why I recommend a calorie deficit instead of the calorie deficit plus keto. But it is up to you. Obviously, you're your own person, you're your own body, and if you know what you're getting into, then so be it. Definitely go for it. Alright, so to summarize this video with the most important points. Number 1, you cannot lose weight unless you are in a calorie deficit. Number 2, making 30% of your diet protein is crucial. This is crucial because if you don't do this, your body is going to eat more muscle than you want, and you're going to be losing muscle mass. You won't lose more muscle mass than you will lose fat, but you definitely don't want to lose much muscle mass, so just eat your protein and you'll keep most of your muscle. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video and this video really helped you, then definitely leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment for any other ideas or video ideas that you want me to cover, fitness wise, whatever. Just make sure to comment, and thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.